I'm back with a +1. Say hi everyone. My name's Cici Cloud Connolly. Hello. My dummy says I love mummy. Say hello. So I finally plucked up the energy to come on here and film my birthing vlog. All about how I gave birth to this little diamond, this little treasure, aren't you? It's a very, very nice, yes. Yes, a very nice child. We love her. Cici looking very cute in Peter Rabbit. A little Maury outfit Auntie Amy made. Oh, getting tired, a bit stroppy. I might have to cut halfway through. Slight diva. Attitude stinks. Like nappies. Stinks.
What's going on?
I'm filming my vlog. Do you want to come and say hi?
Hi.
Are you enjoying being a girl dad?
I've been a what?
A girl dad.
Yeah.
What are you enjoying the most?
Easy to change a bum. I told you flapping about.
What was your best memory?
Finding out it was a girl.
What did you do when it was a girl?
Screamed.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. I'll invoice you.
So, on the 19th of March, which was Mother's Day, I spent pretty much the entire day crying. The day before I gave birth to Cici. I did myself a blow dry, I had a spray tan, bags were packed, I had a roast with my mum. It was literally like living in this weird dream world where something was going to happen and we didn't really know what it was, but it was like you'd forgotten something. And I remember all day thinking, this is the last time I'm going to the toilet on my own. And this is the last time I'm going to sit with my mum on my own. And it was weird. Like I was already grieving the person who I was before I had her. It was just a really, really strange feeling.
Looking forward to see you tomorrow. Are you a boy or are you a girl? Do you have a penis or do you have a little flower? We're not sure what we're going to call you. We've got a couple of names. You've got a very nice mum and a very nice dad, and we both love you a lot already.
See you in the morning.
See you in the morning.
20th of March, 4:30 AM, the alarm's going off. I was up, ready. My mum drove Jodie and I to Wexham because I couldn't leave my car there. I didn't know how long I was going to be there for. We get there, my mum was like taking pictures of us outside. I just burst into tears. I was so overwhelmed and I wasn't even scared. I just did not know what to expect. It was 6 o'clock by that point. We were the first people on the ward. They had a list of all the ladies going for C-sections and there was 3 of us on a list and I was the last one initially. They pushed one lady forward or swapped them around, so I ended up going second. So one lady literally went down at 9 AM and then at 9:30 they came around. I was thinking, like, I was told 11 o'clock, so I was like, oh, I'll be ages, like whatever. At 9:30 they're like, right, you need to put your scrubs on, you need to get ready now, you're going down any minute now. And I was like, what the hell? So it all just happened so quickly. I remember sitting on the bed, all dressed and ready to go. And this guy walks in, he was like 7 foot tall. He had all like lanyards all around his neck with the little NHS badges, I am vaccinated, all of this, and like an ID. And I was like, whose Uber driver is that? And he was like, Mrs. Connolly. And I said, yeah, I'm your consultant today. And I was like, oh my God, I thought it was a cab driver. We start chatting away and he was obviously trying to wind me up. He was like, I'm gonna cut you from here to here, like straight across your belly. And I was like, can you go as low as possible, please? And he was like, I'm joking. So yeah, I ended up having a really amazing team. 10 o'clock then, I was down there in the little room before I went in to theatre, and the whole team was just amazing. The anaesthetist was just the nicest person I've ever met. They put the cannula in my hand, finally go through, and then they try to do the spinal block. A spinal block is different to an epidural. It's heavier, where I literally couldn't even lift or feel my legs or anything. An epidural is so you can still feel to like push a baby out. It took them 3 attempts to do the spinal block because they couldn't get the right knobble on my spine, which is disgusting. The guy that was helping me was so cute. He said to me, he was like, right, I need you just to lean like really far forward. Like, he said, as many chins as you can. I was like, no problem. Anyway, it took us 3 attempts and finally we got it. My legs were like dead weights. It was weird, weird feeling. I kept trying to like readjust myself on the bed and I was like, I can't feel my legs, not even in a good way. Yeah, it wasn't like 4 Prosecco's in, it was like 14 Prosecco's in. They let us put our playlist on. She came out to the song Forever Young by Jay-Z and Mr. Hudson. And then I somehow started listening to Lionel Richie whilst I was being sewn up which was a bit weird. They put the catheter in first. So the catheter is so you can go to the toilet, because obviously if you can't feel your legs, you can't walk, you can't do anything. So that helps you do wee-wees attached to your bladder in a bag. It's not a Birkin or a Chanel. It's not even Primark for that matter. It is literally a bag of piss, okay? It was like, can you feel anything? And I was like, I can feel someone's hand on my fanny. And they all just burst out laughing, and I was like, oh no, did I say something wrong? And they were like, no, it's just a catheter, like, don't panic. So I was like, okay, panicking. And then that was when they started operating. Jodie's looking at me and he's like, are you alright? I'm like, yeah, you alright? He's like, yeah, are you alright? I'm like, yeah, you? Yeah, you? And Jodie was above me and I was like holding his hand. It's like when people say that you'll be able to feel them tugging and like pulling the baby out of you. I actually couldn't feel anything at all. We were taking pictures, the midwives were photobombing us. It was just such a lovely vibe. I wish I could bottle that moment up. So the surgery is happening and I could feel myself like melting into the table. Jodie's like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And he's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Little did I know that I'd hemorrhaged and I was bleeding a lot more than expected. But I was still okay and still talking, still alive. The next day, I could hear all this like really weird sound, like liquid, like water. I just heard her cry. I just turned around and I went, is that the baby crying? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Jodie was like, baby's crying. I was like, yeah, the baby's crying. I was like, she's alive. I didn't even cry. It was so weird. And then she was born at 10:38, an hour after going down with the anaesthetist and everything. She was here. Anyway, they bring her around because I couldn't see. I didn't go for the clear screen in the end. We didn't really have the option. They opened her legs and they were like, and Jodie went, oh my God, it's a girl. Like punching the air. And I was going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, because I was so convinced it was a boy. Utter shock. Like total shock. He fucks off, goes to see her, and I'm like left there like, hello, holding on to the pole as they're sewing me up to like try and lift my head round so I could see. And the guy who does the spinal block came over and he was like, sweetie, he was like, don't hold the metal pole. And I was like, why? He was like, because they're just putting some electric currents through your body right now and you might get a shock. I was like, okay, cool. Jodie goes off and he filmed the whole thing and it was just, I just laid there and I was like, I cannot believe this is happening to me right now. The greatest surprise, honestly, if I can recommend this to anyone, don't find out what you're having. Don't. It's so lovely to have that moment and that reveal. Every time I talk about it. Every time.
Hello, darling. Hello. Look at you. Hello. Hello. Hi, sweetheart.
Nobody can describe that love to you, like how you feel when they come out. And that feeling of like obviously I love my husband, but like, I mean, look at her. Look at her. As we were leaving, the consultant surgeon, he said, Mrs. Connolly, he said, what made you elect for a C-section? I said, we just had a long journey getting here and I wanted to make sure that everything was going to be done as safely as possible. He said, mother's instinct is a real thing, you know. I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about. And he said, because her umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck twice. It's on my notes. The whole thing is there. That is just fucking mental. I knew that was what I wanted and I made sure I got it. And for anybody else in the same position, do you, boo. They took us up to the wards and they monitored us for half an hour before I could go back, and I was just desperate to see my mum. I wanted my mum to meet her so bad. I was like, can we go now? Can we go now? Can we go now? Okay, we came up to the lift and my mum was waiting outside the lift at the labour ward when we came back upstairs, and how lucky I was to have had such an uncomplicated birth and such a beautiful birth.
Lemmy, how do you feel?
Very proud of you all, and she's absolutely beautiful. She's perfect. She's the cutest thing you've ever seen. She looks like her mum when she was born, and she has got a look of her dad as well.
So then I spent the night in hospital, as expected. The midwives at Wexham Park were a different league of women. I was so lucky to have had a midwife there that I actually knew. She was one of my clients. Shout out to Charlie, love ya. So I had a catheter in. It took me probably 4 hours to start getting feeling in my legs again. We had a McDonald's delivered. I was absolutely starving, but I was feeling really good. I was on cloud 9, FaceTiming everyone. How'd you feel, Dad? Amazing.
I'm whispering because I don't want to go.
That first night together on our own was tough. I was on such an adrenaline rush. I couldn't go to sleep. She wouldn't sleep. Every time I put her down, she just wanted to be held the whole time. The midwives helped me set up like a barricade. I was surrounded by pillows and I literally had her on my chest so neither of us could roll. And they were like, you really need to sleep. I was like, I can't sleep. I was like this, I can't sleep. I can't. I was sitting upright with her on my chest here. And they were like, just shut your eyes. I was like, okay. So I must have had about 40 minutes sleep all bloody night. And then that morning we went home. As soon as I got home, I was in this delirious state of drugs, adrenaline, euphoria. I couldn't even talk. I don't really remember those first couple of days. They were weird, just this weird little bubble of like nothingness, but so much at the same time. All I could do was look at her. Are you laughing at me? Takes the piss. You know what I didn't expect to happen was the bleeding. Oh my God, I did not stop bleeding. For ages after my C-section, I was so scared. I remember being in the hospital and pressing the button for the midwife. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It felt this like gush from in between my legs. I was like, I'm bleeding everywhere, I'm bleeding. There's obviously something wrong. And she was like, no, it's pretty normal to bleed after birth. I was like, no, this is a lot. This is a lot. She was like, no, this is very normal. And the next minute I'm Googling like, how much is enough blood? Like how much blood should I be losing? Anyway, the bleeding went on for at least 4 weeks. God, that was hard work. So it actually took us nearly a week to name her. Believe it or not. Obviously we didn't know what we were having and I was so convinced we were having a boy that my boy's name was already picked and settled upon. And then we finally all agreed on Cici Cloud. I wanted her to be called Cloud. My parents wouldn't have it. They were like, no, that's stupid. And I said, no, I really like it. And they were like, no, put something before it and you can have it as the middle name. So we did. So whilst I was pregnant, everything I saw had clouds on. I mean, everywhere. Cards, all her clothes had clouds on. The noonan that my dad bought her had like clouds hanging from it. And I thought, this is just bizarre. I have to call her Cloud. And obviously I wasn't allowed. So we settled on Cici Cloud. When she cries now, I call her my little storm cloud. Oh, here she goes. She's storming. She's storming. Every cloud has a silver lining, which was how we looked at the whole situation. I also really liked the way that her initials were CC. So like her name is CC and then her initials were CC as well. So it was just a nice little touch and it's just something that's really special to us. So my recovery has been fantastic. I had to go home with the catheter, which obviously I wasn't expecting, but that was only for 24 hours. And then I came back and did a little 6-hour stint at Wexham so they could check that I was urinating properly. The first night at home was really hard. It wasn't so much about the pain. I found the pain sort of bearable. Something that I learned, which was really, really useful, was the soluble Panadols. Game changer. When I started to feel a little bit rough around the edges, pop one of those, fantastic. Other than that, I think it was more to do with the frustration of not being able to do things. Like Jodie literally had to lift me in and out of bed and I got upset because I was getting aggy about how I was feeling and not being able to do anything. And when she was crying, I was like, I can't reach her. Someone please give her to me. I did think I was gonna find it a lot harder than I did. You know, I kept a really positive mindset and I just took each day as it came. I think the hardest part was the dogs, coming home to them. I felt so guilty. And then I wasn't allowed to go in the kitchen because of my scar and them jumping up. And yeah, that's something that I wish I'd spent more time focusing on before she arrived. I also found it so hard not being able to do things like showers and baths, because like when I feel rough or when I'm feeling miserable, a nice hot bath. My mum was literally giving me flannel baths. One time where my mum said to me, do you want me to wipe your bum? And I said, no, I don't. I can do that. She said, okay, I'm gonna leave the room. I said, thank you. Being a grand old age of 28 and my mum asking me, do you want me to wipe your bum? You never really grow up, do you? The first time I saw the midwife to have the bandage taken off, that was really scary. I had all these thoughts in my head, like from what I'd seen online, like all these horror stories about my scar, some really scary axe wound thing. Anyway, get to the midwife for my day 10 appointment. I knew that they were going to remove the bandages and I was thinking, oh my God, this is so scary, this is so scary. Jodie's going, are you all right? Are you all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. You? I was like literally having a nervous breakdown at Wickham Hospital. Sits down, she's like looking at the baby, like, oh, baby's great, how are you? And I was like, I'm really scared. Burst into tears. Jodie got, I knew there was something wrong. I knew there was something wrong. And I said, I'm really scared about what my scar's gonna look like. She said, oh, get on the bed, don't be silly. So I laid down and she took the thing off. I couldn't look. I couldn't even sit up to look at it. I was so terrified. And Jodie's like that, oh, babe, it's lovely. Babe, it's really, really nice. It's great, it looks great. So I left there without the bandage, and then that I felt really naked then. That was the scariest part. And then when I got home, I had the courage to look in the mirror, and it's actually not as bad. It's really pretty actually, but I'm really happy with it. It is what it is. I'm very proud of my scar. It's just a pouch I'm not proud of. That needs to go. So overall, I have had a really, really positive experience. I was up and out the weekend after. The weekend after that, Jodie and I went out on our first date night to a friend's birthday. We've just been feeling really good. I'm just waiting for the old, the blues are on their way, to be honest. Now that all the cards have been thrown away and the balloons are gone and the flowers are dead, I think it's going to hit me soon. Is that funny, is it? Is that funny? I saw you laughing. I think this is the part where it's going to start getting really real. If you are choosing to elect, please take this as a positive story. Do it. Newborn life is a roller coaster, and birth and everything is just this magical experience, but it's also physically and mentally labour intensive. It's a full-time job. I'll be back soon with an 8-week update once the newborn bubbles really burst and we start getting real about everything. That is the end of my birth story, really. I can't think of much else. Overall, just a really, really positive experience, and I was so lucky to have had an experience like that. Honestly, I think that experience as well has affected her like as a baby. She's such a good baby. I'll be back in a few weeks with a little update for you. Yeah, over and out.